After a high-scoring year around the NHL last season, goal scoring is continuing to rise on average around the league, and should it stay the same throughout the rest of the regular season, this will be the highest scoring campaign in over 25 years, since the 1995-96 season. With skill at an all-time high and multiple players putting up video game-like numbers, it has made for some electric hockey throughout the first couple months of the season. While you might assume that the highest scoring team in the league so far is probably either the Boston Bruins, who are undefeated in regulation at home this year, and have guys like David Pastrnak and Brad Marchand on the roster, or perhaps the Edmonton Oilers, who have the two top scorers in the league in Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl. But the team that currently has the highest goals for and a goals per game of a whopping 3.97 is the Buffalo Sabres. The Sabres have a roster filled with an incredible amount of exciting young players that they have acquired over the past few seasons, either via the draft or some trades. And although they're giving up a lot of goals in the process, this team has, in my opinion, been the most exciting team to watch in the NHL through the first 2.5 months. And here is why. The MVP of the team this year has surely been the man you guys call TNT, Tage Thompson. You can check out my last video if you haven't already and want to see a deeper dive on him, but this dude just cannot stop scoring goals and playing amazing hockey. Buffalo also has one of the best young defensemen in the entire league in Rasmus Dahlin. The 22-year-old is having the best season of his young career, and with 37 points in 31 games, he is currently second among all defensemen in scoring, behind only Erik Karlsson, who is having a ridiculous bounce-back season with San Jose. Dahlin has also rounded out his defensive game as well, and with the insane skill he has, he's reminding everyone why he was a slam dunk number 1 overall pick in 2018. He could legitimately win the Norris this year. As good as the Sabres' top line has been this year, the second line, aka the kid line, with Dylan Cozens, JJ Peterka, and Jack Quinn has been fantastic as well. 21-year-old Dylan Cozens has been improving each year he's been in the league, and is on pace for a career year, clicking at nearly a point per game through 32 this season. The workhorse from Whitehorse gets it done at both ends of the ice, and is showing that he can produce like some of the very best second-line centers in the best league in the world. Jack Quinn, the 21-year-old who was drafted a year after Cozens, is in his first full NHL season after getting a taste last spring, and after lighting it up with Rochester of the American Hockey League last year, Quinn is developing really nicely at the NHL level. His 17 points are good for 5th in rookie scoring, and some of his goals and plays have been absolute beauties. Peterka, like Quinn, also played in Rochester a season ago and actually led the team in points with 68 in 70 games played. The 20-year-old is also in his rookie season and has 15 points in 32 games. He's been showcasing his great speed and finishing ability nearly every time he straps on a pair of skates, and was really a nice find for Buffalo in the second round in 2020. Now back to the top line, you have Alex Tuch and Jeff Skinner, both also on pace for career highs in points. Tuch, the 26-year-old who was the biggest piece in the Jack Eichel trade, has been building off of a strong first year with the Sabres. He's over a point per game, and not only is he a good leader for the team, but he's also a complete player in every sense of the word. And he's also likely the future captain of the team once Okposo retires or moves on. The re-emergence of Jeff Skinner came as a surprise to me, but makes sense since he's always been extremely skilled and a great skater. After scoring 33 goals and 63 points last year, he now has 36 points in 29 games this year, and could post a career high in points if he keeps it going. A guy who was once looked at as the most overpaid player in the league is starting to produce a little more like a $9 million player, and I'm sure playing with Tage Thompson doesn't hurt. Another player who's having a solid year is former top 10 pick Casey Mittelstadt. Mittelstadt was once looked at as one of the top prospects in hockey, but is now playing in the third line center spot for Buffalo. And with 17 points in 32 games so far, he could end up carving out a solid NHL career for himself if he can keep it up and improve a little bit on the defensive side of the game. Some of the other exciting players in the Sabres lineup include 2021 first overall pick Owen Power, who hasn't provided a ton of offense but really doesn't need to at this point in his career. He has been an excellent defender though, and with his long reach can be extremely difficult to get around for opposing forwards. Mattias Samuelsson, the 22-year-old 6'4" defenseman, is also an excellent shutdown guy. If he can continue to develop, he will be a staple on that blue line for many years, and was just awarded a nice contract in the offseason. The one big hole on the Buffalo roster right now is obviously the goaltending position. 41-year-old Craig Anderson has actually been lights out this season, but his time in pro hockey is likely coming to an end soon. Eric Comrie has not been very good, but he wasn't really expected to be. The big question mark is the goalie of the future. Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen has had a rough start to the season, but he's also just still 23 years old, so I think he still has a little bit of time to see whether or not he can be a goalie in the NHL. Devin Levi is the guy in the system that I think most fans are banking on being the future number 1 in net for the Sabres. He's currently in his second college season with Northeastern, still putting up really strong numbers. But we will see if he chooses to sign with Buffalo or not after the year. Sabres are currently still a few points out of a wildcard spot for the playoffs and are well out of a spot for top 3 in their division. Nonetheless, they are finally fielding an incredibly exciting young hockey team with many likable players that are worth the price of admission. And it's really great to see for one of the top hockey markets in the United States. Sabres fans, let me know down in the comments, would you rather see this team make the playoffs this year or struggle a little more and get a better pick in what is looking like a very deep 2023 draft class? Thank you guys so much for watching, and we will see you in the next one.